If I have the money, I'll be happy. You can't buy happiness. Are you stupid? I introduce athletes to themselves in the future.
World-renowned sports psychologist Dr. Jason Hamilton has helped some of the greatest athletes turn potential into championship performance.
This is Dr. Hamilton, the most dominant sports psychologist ever.
They call me the smiling doctor. When you see the Jamaican athletes smiling with you before a race, you're about to get whooped.
He reveals that the secret to unlocking your full potential isn't what most people expect.
Just because your BMI is here and your body fat is low does not necessarily mean you're as strong as you should be.
It's something that far too many people overlook.
There's a region of your brain that gets stronger when you do. If you can focus for 60 seconds, I can help your brain to do things you couldn't believe you could do.
You've worked with icons like the Jamaican athletic team, Shaquille O'Neal. What's one of the psychological tools that they use under pressure that every entrepreneur should know and use right now?
One of the things that they do that peak athletes do is
You've worked with icons like the Jamaican athletic team, Shaquille O'Neal. What's one of the psychological tools that they use under pressure that every entrepreneur should know and use right now?
Okay. Michael, thank you for having me again. Last time I was with you, I spoke about the limbic cortical region, which is a region that can make you do some dumb stuff. And you have to learn how to manage it. And a lot of great entrepreneurs, I just got back from a conference at Martha's Vineyard. One of the things that they do that peak athletes do is they manage this region. And then there's a region called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, which is a region of your brain that gets stronger when you do things you don't want to do. So like, obviously, you like the gym and you like doing.
Is it that obvious?
You know, but some people don't like push-ups. Some people don't like crunches and that. But if you do them and you're telling yourself you enjoy them, like I enjoy doing suicide when I'm running sprints in basketball or whatever, you're making that region stronger. So this is one of the things that top elite athletes have. Ann Duckworth talked about it. She called it grit. So it's not necessarily the strongest or the smartest that are at top of be it business, sports, anything. It's those that keep going, you know? Some of the top teams in the world, it's not the best athletes that they're right now in basketball in America. Some of the best players play in Rucker, place in New York, but they can't necessarily play in the NBA because they had some other problems, limbic cortical region, and they have like felony or criminal records, so they can't be in the NBA, but they are really good. So to go back to your question, peak performance, be it business or athletes, is managing limbic cortical region, strengthening your anterior mid-cingulate cortex.
So that's doing stuff consistently that you dislike doing?
Yeah.
And doing it over and over and over again until it builds strength in that area?
You can dislike the thing, but you know it's good for your business. You're a businessman. You understand? There's certain aspects of it that you want to delegate to other people. I really don't like this part. I love this part, but I don't like this part. The part that you love, you're going to get really good at, right? This, you're good at. But the other parts, that's where you strengthen the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. You don't want to do it as much. You'd really rather delegate it to other people, but it's essential for you as a businessman or entrepreneur to also be good at that, you know? Mm-hmm. You might have to wear many different hats.
Now, most people think that champions are fearless. From what you've seen behind the curtain, what fears and doubts do great athletes battle and how do they overcome them?
Great athletes are not fearless. Not to say they're not fearless, right? When Muhammad Ali beat George Foreman, it's not like he wasn't scared that Foreman would knock his head off. You know, when Alcaraz beat Sinner the other day in the US Open, he said he was nervous, but what he has done, which is a thing I try to teach my athletes all the time, is enjoy and smile. They call me the smiling doctor. So So my athletes are smiling with you. When you see the Jamaican athletes smiling with you before a race, you're about to get whooped. You understand? So it's smiling. And Alcaraz said it. It's smiling. He knows the nerves are coming. He knows, but this is the time he lives for. He lives for this moment. And to do something great in that moment, you're in the arena, you're in the center, you're there. You're not a spectator comment. Lots of people sitting on couches and chairs say, oh, if it was me, if it was you, what? You didn't put in the work. And sometimes when you win a match, it's all the work that you put in that resulted in that win. There are some young players that lost at the US Open recently, and they're really upset. But that's they have to go through that to get to the glory. You understand? So that's part of the journey. You got to go through the pain. You have to.
That's some great stuff right there. Now, you've seen athletes at rock bottom, injured, written off, and also convinced that their career is over. Now, they've come back. Some of them have come back stronger, better, and become champions from those setbacks. What was the exact shift in their mindset that turned defeat into dominance? Because I know this happens. I mean, this can happen to me in business. You know, you go through a period where you just get rejected after rejection after rejection, especially in sales. Sales seems to be something that salespeople go through. Peaks and troughs, because you never have consistency in sales. There are times where you just knock it out the ballpark and you think that the sun shines out your bum. And then you'll have weeks or months where it just feels like nothing's happening, you're not getting traction. And I know personally I've got into that defeatist mindset, and you have to like readjust even though you're getting your ass kicked. How do you spin that around with those athletes?
You have to go through the rough period to understand. And if you're able, like you in the example you gave, so you had a good sales and the sun is up your bum, but then you had a time when not going good. You see that what you do very well, smile, which your lovely wife just came downstairs that she's very happy with the whole America trip and you guys getting ready to go back to California. If you can be smiling while you're getting your ass whooped in sales, it's gonna work out for you. That's where you learn.
The other thing that I heard there, which is really important, having worked with a lot of high-level entrepreneurs and being the private coach as well of some of the rich listers and so on, I think what you said there was really important as well, is the study part. You're getting your ass kicked, there's something you don't know.
Yeah.
You got to go figure that out, get better, improve, and then, you know, play the game again until you figure it out.
That's the pain you got to go through right now. You got to grit your teeth, go through it, smile. That's the thing. There lots of people wanted to woe is me, and you know, why is this? It's happening to you because you need this to happen to you, so you learn from this, so you get better at this, and then you move on. Keep it moving.
I think that even just that part there is really powerful as well, I think, in business. Because I guess what you've just said there is so important. First of all, you've got a challenge and there's a gap. You got to learn from that gap. And so you've got to smile at it first, realize that it's working for you, not against you, study the gap, and then improve that gap by putting in the work. It sounds like there's sort of the 3 steps that need to happen in order for someone to succeed. That drives me on to the next question, which I haven't really prepared or thought about, but I think that it's a great question to move on to. Over all your years of working with athletes, how many of them study their art? And how many of them is that their go-to when you first start working with them? The reason why I ask this question is a lot of business owners that I speak to, you know, if I'm doing sales, I might speak to 20 to 50 business owners a week. And a lot of them will say things like, they'll say, you know, I want to grow my business to $10 million and they're doing $1 million per year now, or maybe 500,000. And I say, well, it's a $30,000 investment to, you know, learn the skills and, you know, develop the knowledge and things like that. It might take you a year or two. And a lot of them go, I need to think about it. And then what I find is that they have a natural avoidance of wanting to learn or wanting to get coached or wanting to get help. And they'll go and find something cheaper, or they'll go find something easier, or they'll go drink alcohol, or they'll go buy a jet ski. They almost do anything apart from the thing that they need to do, which is learn or develop the skills. So what I want to know is, how many athletes their natural inclination is to go learn the game versus come to somebody like you and you say to them, right, you've got to sit down and you've got to learn the game and then work them through that?
This is a great question. And to take it to your point where there's these people and they want to go from 1 million to 10 million, and you're saying, all right, if you do this $30,000 investment, you're going to get the tools. And similar with athletes, all right, so in my field, I do neuropsychological evaluations. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. And so clinical psychologists, their bread and butter is the evaluation. You're different from everybody else in this room. Your brain is different. And when I understand your brain, I don't just give you CDs and say, play these CDs and it will help you. It's not a cookie cutter. My program is just like with yours. You go and you meet with a client and you see how the business is operating, that 30,000 that they're investing to learn, you are going to identify specifically that business is different from another business that you worked with, right? Similarly, when you're working with the young athletes and they hear, wow, that's a lot for a neuropsych, you know? I say, you see who I've been working with, right? I'm not going to be on planet Earth much longer. You need to get this. And there are people that are paying me to get this. If you are saying, okay, I'll get back with you, the next time you come to me, it's double what I'm telling you it is today, right? That person that you said is 30,000, right? As a matter of fact, it's 30,000 today. If I go out the room and I come back in, it's 45, right? It's 30 because something is happening. You got me here, no. Or somebody put you in touch with me or something happened. But if I go out that door and you think about it and you're like, you know, I really should do that thing with Michael. When I come back in, it's 45. And if you call me next week, it's 60. They will be doing 30. You understand? So when you're working with a young athlete, you're that point I made earlier that sports is finite. I say you can stay there thinking about it, right? By the time your brain catches up with the fact that, yeah, I should have listened, I have more athletes calling me back and saying, thank you, Dr. Hamilton, right? By the time you realize that, you can't afford me, one, and it might be too late. I said this to you the last time we had it on the video clip. You said, beautiful. I said, I introduce athletes to themselves in the future, you know? And that's what I do. In the future, you're going to look back and say, if I knew then what I know now, I'd have been a better athlete. I'm just going to teach you. It's here. I know this. I need to know who you are by doing a neuropsych evaluation, and then I can help you.
That's awesome. Something that I've been having a conversation with my team about is that they tend to sell the idea of that people need the knowledge, but I think the knowledge is the easy part. It's the transformation that's the hard part. And I think that's what you're getting at as well, is that you've got to understand the person to then help them go through that transformation. I think it's like everyone knows that they should go to the gym and exercise, but they don't do it. It's not that they don't know. It's just that they haven't had the transformation. It's same in business. Like I've people who come to me and they go, you know, yeah, I definitely want to do something. And then I see that they go with another coach, but the coach is cheap, doesn't know what they're doing. You know, they're just selling a product because it's easy for the time being or whatever. And I look at that person, I go, wow, that's a really interesting decision. And I know that what's actually happening a lot of the time is that people are avoiding their own transformation, but they're limiting their own greatness, that future potential that you're talking about. So it is a really interesting way of, I think I'm definitely going to start to use that a lot more.
Yeah, listen.
The 65, it's 30 now, 45. If I walk back in and 60.
Seriously, if you're having that, because here's the thing. You see, right when you're with them, when you're there with them that day, they're enthralled by you, right? And they really want to get into this relationship or this business relationship, right? You see, the minute you give them time to think, that limbic cortical region, in sports psychology, Stephen Peters came up with a term, the chimp. It's a chimp paradox. So there's a human, there's a chimp, and then there's a computer. So in performance in sports, the computer is what does the actual thing. If you played ping pong, table tennis, it's fast. If you're thinking to play table tennis, you're about to do some foolishness like put my left leg here, put my right leg here, put my right hand back. That's thinking. That's not how table tennis works. It's quick, quick, quick. And the more you practice it, it's muscle memory. So it knows what to do. The human is us. The chimp, limbic cortical region, is there to protect us. But we're not running from lions and tigers, no, But it's always angry, always wants to fight, always thinks things are terrible. So soon as you finish talking, the chimp is saying, nah, let's look around, right? You see while you're there and they're enthralled, right? And you can look and know that they're there. That's when you have the conversation. And you have it like a businessman. Exactly what they said. Today is 30,000. I go out that door and I come back in, it's 45. And if you and your chimp get together and you and your people get together and you're like, look, we've looked at Michael Mo's track record and he's really delivering. We should call him back. You calling me back next week? First of all, when they call back next week, you don't talk to them. Mm. Vice President of Michael Mojo, whatever. They can't directly talk to you anymore. They had that relationship right then, right? That person who could easily be your lovely wife, when she having that conversation with them, it's 60. Oh, but could we get back to talk? If Michael talks to you again until we get some paperwork signed out, it might be more. So best you deal with me. Understand? And if you start applying that, you're going to be calling me a year from now. Doc, I cannot believe, right? You're closing. So there's a thing in business, I guess it is, called fishing. So you're fishing for the sales. You're catching little fish, sprats. What you're trying to do is catch orcas, killer whales, Miami dolphins, you understand? Miami Heats, and big. So you start the conversation, they're enthralled. If they don't sign there, you leave the door, come back, it's up. A week from then, it's double. They will take, just the same way they're looking to take the lower person, or not the lower person, the cheaper person, they're going to take the lower version of what you just said. You understand?
Yeah.
I'm taking 30 as opposed to 60. You planted 60 in their head. Next week, it's 60,000. Call me a month from now, you can't afford me. You understand?
Yeah, 100%.
I think I could teach business too.
Oh, it's good because it's all psychology, right? And I think this is, I mean, I talk a lot about this because my background is human behavior, and a lot of business owners, they think that it's always the strategy. They're always looking for the strategy and how to do things in a certain way. So a lot of the conversations that I have, they're going, yeah, but I need a better marketing plan. And I go, you don't need a better marketing plan. The truth is that you can't lead people because you're always angry. You get pissed off, and when you're pissed off, you can't communicate. The good people that you have leave, and then you hire shit people, and then you're frustrated. And it's just this vicious cycle of human behavior. And then they go, nah, but I just need to make more money.
More money, yeah.
And so it always goes back to money, but they don't see money as being an exchange of value. They see money as being the solution.
Yes.
And money's never a solution.
Never a solution.
Which is just interesting. But again, money's an exchange of value. It's the psychology. But it's so, I think that's why, if I look in Australia, 56% of businesses fail in the first 4 years. Now, no one starts a business to fail, but everyone thinks that they're going to succeed, but they fail. And then it's 84, 86% of businesses have less than 4 staff, which essentially means you've got someone who's trapped and stuck. And then 92% of businesses in Australia do less than $2 million a year in revenue, which again means that it's someone who the whole business is sitting on their shoulders.
On their shoulders, exactly.
So it is actually really, really almost impossible to grow a business, just like it's almost impossible to get to the NBA or, to the Olympics or whatever, but people break through. Anyway, I don't want to go too much off this conversation.
Let's go down that point a second, Mike. So what you were saying is the business is a reflection of the person.
Always.
You understand? So
Yeah.
if you're a miserable so-and-so and you're saying, oh, all I need is more marketing or I need is more money. Money is not coming to miserable. You understand?
Yeah.
The business is a reflection of you. So if you're a sourpuss, people working for you, they're under pressure, right? And it's reflective. I've seen businesses that are really, really successful, and the person is the kindest, coolest, doing all kind. It's as if they want to give away. The more they get is the more they're giving away, or the more they're helping, it's just coming. And it's coming because of who they are. You understand? And that can be a person figured it out. That can be a person figured out that I was smiling through the tough times. I'm not a Grinch, you know? They're not being philanthropic to benefit the company. That's just who they are. It's coming as a result of who they are. So the business is doing well. Look, you were given stats on Australia. And nice things about doing business here in the US is in many countries, you were talking about bankruptcy. In many countries, like in Spain and Italy, if you go bankrupt, you personally can't start a business again for 4 years.
Australia's the same.
Yeah. Australia is the same. Many places. America, you go bankrupt, you start another business tomorrow. You understand? So people can start businesses. I'm not necessarily saying that's the best way, but it is a part of how America is. And if people are understanding that they are a reflection of their business, right? There have been people that are not so cool that have done really well, right? But there have been people that are cool, that are doing really well. And it's which one of them do you want to be?
Just that statement alone is very empowering and powerful, I think, is, who do you want to be? Mm-hmm. And why do you think that happens where people think that something external is going to change their internal? As in, I see a lot of business owners, they go, well, when I have the money, then I'll be more relaxed. And especially in Australia, for some weird reason, and maybe I used to think like this as well, but a lot of people think that money gives them freedom, when at the same time, people with money know that it comes with more responsibility, more people trying to get it, more tax, more liabilities, more insurance. Like, it actually has a weight attached to it as well that most people who don't have it aren't familiar with. And those who are always chasing money because they think that money is going to be a solution to something that's going on internal. Why do you think that happens, where so many people think that something external from themselves, even just thinking about that question, the amount of people who think that love comes from somebody else or something else versus love is within them, and they give that to others versus they get that from others. Why do you think our society is so attached to external versus internal?
Bingo on good question. The main reason that I would consider me successful in life taps into what you talked about, which is love. My girl, putting up with me, I'm not going to call out the years because make us look, but we've been together for a minute. I'm a sports psychologist because of my wife, Sandy Hamilton. So I'm going to call her name out. She is by far best decision I ever made in my life. Got 3 great kids. And so I'm a clinical psychologist, and she said, you're already crazy, so you shouldn't talk to crazy people. You understand?
This sounds like the advice that my wife gives me.
I know. So that's what saves us, right?
It is.
You see that look at your face when you said your wife look? Yes, you seen that?
Because I just see her waving there.
Yeah. Right? So she can do that to me. And it's not my job nor your job to make Jess happy. You understand? You make yourself happy, you can add to her happiness. to go back to your question, where people think it's something extrinsic or external that's going to result, when I have the money, then I'll be happy. I know a bunch of people very rich and are not happy. Me personally, I am very happy. If office in Canada, Jamaica, and Miami, if I could just be going around helping athletes, I'm good. Some people think that you need to make the most money and then you'll be happy. Nonsense. Complete nonsense. I'll give you an example. There was a fisherman in Jamaica, and he did very good snapper fish and lobsters. And people loved it. People travel from all over just to eat. And he makes it right. He just caught it, salt and stuff, and right there at the beach. And an American businessman came up to him and said, "This is so good. You could have franchises and be like McDonald's, and right, and then you'd be a billionaire and you could make a lot of money." And so the guy said, "So when I do all that, and I become this really big billionaire, what should I do with all of that?" He said, "Well, you could buy a house and live on the beach in the ocean, you have beachfront." He said, "You're telling me I need to go and do all of that to do what I'm already doing right now? I live on the beach. I'm good." You understand? He is very happy. And some people, it takes them a long time to understand that. But that which you do really well, Michael, the smiling while you're strengthening your anterior mid-cingulate cortex, which is a region of the brain doing things it does not like to do. But I'm going to use Mr. Miyagi, right? Everybody knows Karate Kid. Well, back in Jamaica, we used to watch a lot of movies from China. And there was like the Shaolin Temple and Drunken Master. And so there's always the Shaolin Master, the old white-haired man, would always teach the youngster something. The youngster, while going through the learning, is not liking it. Similar to in the Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi is teaching him wax on, wax off. He's like, "What the hell is wax on? Why am I doing this?" But it's doing the stuff you don't want to do. Again, Ann Duckworth talking about grit. That's the difference. That's how you get to the next level. It's doing some things that you got to pay your dues. You have to, in Jamaica, we say suck salt, or you have to go through the rough stuff. So, but if you can go through,
I'm going to put that up on our new office wall. Suck salt.
Yeah. If you go through the rough stuff, suck salt. That's what we say. If you go through that part and you're smiling while doing it, look at Usain Bolt. You see when he's smiling before the race, it's finished. Shelley-Ann Fraser-Price, smiling before the race, finish. Them athletes, they've put in the work. You haven't seen where Usain is with Coach Mills and he's vomiting on the track. He's run till the finish. So he put in the work. And he's going to put in the work on the track. Don't ask him to do no push-ups at home. And everything you need me to do, you can see it with my eyes. But, yeah, you got to go through. You have to go through it, Mike. And
That's
if
awesome.
they can get that and smile, then they'll understand.
I got the smiling part, but I think that's a way of covering up the oh shit moments. So I've got a few other questions here, which personally, some of these are for me, and then some of these, being a business person who has a fascination for the last 2 decades in human performance and human behavior, I think they'll not only help me, but also help some other entrepreneurs. But this one here is, I wrote this question down. I often doubt my own strengths. I see greatness in others and feel like I'm never doing enough. Do you see the same patterns in elite athletes? Because I see these a lot in other business owners as well. And how do you break that cycle of consistent comparison? And I don't mean the comparison, for me personally, I don't compare myself to others. I compare myself to what I think I should be doing or where I should be. And so it's like my future self, and that creates the gap. But I also see a lot of other people doing it from themselves to others, which is also, they have the same challenges that I have as well.
That really good question. And because you're younger than me, I will say it's also a younger person's dilemma. See, where I sit, and I'm not calling out my age of my wife, but you can tell. So I've been on the planet much longer than you.
You're Jamaican, you've got that like good skin.
So when I say it's a younger person's dilemma, many young people, yeah, they can compare themselves against others, but they're also doing what you do, which is comparing themselves against their future self. And they're always thinking, I should be here. I see other people at my same age. How are they there and I'm not here? You have no idea, one, what they went through. And that might be it. They might have 4 more years left on earth. So this is their crown and glory. You're going to be here another 60 years, right? So yours might come at a different time. You don't have to constantly be thinking, why is so-and-so here? Not necessarily that I'm comparing myself, but why am I not there? My future self, why am I not there yet? You get there when you get there. And once they start to appreciate, you're not there because you haven't done the work that you don't like to do. For example, if I go to an exam, something you said earlier about, okay, sometimes I do a really good sail and it's like the sun is up my bum. But then I go through a pier and it's rough waters, nothing. And then when you're in the rough water, you're saying, but this rough water is similar. I've been in this rough water before. Why am I keep on being in this rough water? You're being in that rough water because you didn't learn the last time you were in this rough water. You tried to navigate and look for the easy way out and not really what do I need to learn? What is this rough water teaching me that I'm not quite getting it? Because if I don't get it this time, I'm going to be in this rough water again. You understand that gem I just gave you about the 30, 45, 60, right? That going to take you out some rough waters. You know how you close. Why did you close? That's what you need to do more of. Why is there a period of rough water? There are periods of rough water in business. That's business. It's like the ocean. What am I supposed to be learning in this rough water, right? Forget about, I should be here. There ain't no such thing in the whole world as should be. Matter of fact, your brain does not understand the word should be, right? Or if it's your brain doesn't understand the word what if. You're a tennis player. It's your second serve. If you say, what if I double fault? You know what you're about to do? Double fault, right? It don't understand what if, but whatever the last thing you say, it understands that. So what if you say, what if I ace him on a second serve? What if I ace him? And you go for it. You have a higher probability of acing him as you do to double fault him because you said double fault. You understand? So should be, I should be here. There ain't no such thing as should be. You are where you are, and you need to learn why are you where you are. And then if you're at peace, my dad, his wife, is going to enjoy hearing this when I say it. A lot of people are working towards happy. I need to be happy. If I have the money, if I have this, I'll be happy, 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 happy. Because I'm happy and all those times. Listen, happy is a state of mind. But what you really want to do is get to where I am, in my mind, which is content. Content is the word you're trying to get to. Be cool with who you are, where you are, and if you're content, then you can do a whole bunch of other things. Everybody trying to, if I had all this money. You can't buy happiness. Is you stupid? It's not happening that way. You get? So, content, being at peace. That little fisherman I told you about, he content as anything. The $1 billion lobster McDonald's thing that guy was talking about would not make him happy, would not make him content at all. And it could possibly have been a lot of money. No more money was making that man content. He was there. He have this, the gray beard. He's getting there. Because here's the thing with when you get to content, Michael, you're at the top of the mountain looking down, right? You're still going up, right? Me, I'm up there. I got about 10 more years of doing this. And then I'm joining my friend down on the beach. You get me? Yeah. That's what you're trying to get to, content.
Oh, actually, I've got a bunch of questions because you've just opened up a bunch of questions for me personally, but also knowing the people that I work with and the people who listen to this podcast. You know, these are extremely driven people. Now, they wouldn't consider themselves high performers because they're never there yet. Yeah. They're always chasing something. But how do you train someone to find content? And also, have you worked with athletes who have found content? Or is there always that gap that they're always trying to close, which then gives them that drive and that ambition?
I don't want your audience to misconstrue or misunderstand what I talk about when I say content. Content is being at peace with yourself. So you're not like having suppositions, oh, I should be there. These people that I've worked with that are highly successful, they're content in knowing who they are. But that don't mean for a second they're not driven. Shaquille O'Neal is one of the most brilliant businessmen I know.
His latest documentary was amazing.
I know. I love it. You know, I just, last time you and I spoke, I just got back from Vegas. I was there with him and Mike Tyson on his podcast. Mike is hilarious. So if we can ever get that whole thing working with
you let me know when you can get Mike Tyson and Shaq on this podcast.
Let me tell you how brilliant he is as a businessman. I remember one day, I think I said this story the last time. I'm at the Mandarin Hotel here in Miami, and Shaq is looking at the Centrus building, and I'm looking out to the ocean. Jamaican boy, always looking out to the ocean. And he looking at the Centrus building.
I must have Jamaican in me because Jess and I are the same as well. Every time we go somewhere, ocean view.
Yeah, that's it. It settles you. You're content in your room at that time. You can look at the ocean, it settles you. Walk on the beach, your feet, nutrients, good for you. I'm looking at the ocean. He's looking at the Centrus building. He's like, Doc, how much you think for the Centrus building? I'm looking to order a sandwich. You looking to buy a building? I have that's never even gone into my brain space. I didn't even know the Centrus building was up for sale. But because you live in that world, these are type of things you think of. And then we went to practice the heat. And a lady was in the audience, and she threw like money, crumpled up dollar bills. And she started cursing and arguing. You guys are horrible. I have 4 sons, and I can't buy one of my sons an NBA player basketball shoe. I can't buy any of them. And he took that lesson, left, went and made a deal with like Kmart or Walmart or one of them, and he sold his sneakers for $30. Right? My youngest had a pair in kindergarten. And 1 year, he beat Jordan, selling $30 sneakers where Jordans are in the stratosphere. You understand? And he just does things like that. The Ringer on everybody's door in America.
Yep.
He big in the Ringer. So he's content.
So Shaq's a co-owner or an investor in Ring.
Yeah, a lot. Lots of big companies, you look up the top, 51%. Diesel, big man. Q-Dog. And he's happy with who he is, comfortable in his skin. That's content. But don't get it twisted. That man is a serious businessman. And he's learned business. His grandfather is Jamaican, and he got strong work ethic. His stepdad, military man. So it was no easy growing up in that house, right? In Jamaica, we say you get whoopings. Yeah, they got some. And all it did was make him stronger. So, yep, brilliant businessman that's content.
How did he find that contentment? Because I remember a conversation, I've been reading Kobe Bryant's book, and I've been watching a lot of Kobe stuff because I love his mindset and his psychology and how he operates. And I watch a lot of great athletes, and I sort of psychoanalyze the language they're using, the way that they're thinking about things, their self-talk. But I remember in one of Kobe Bryant's interviews, they asked him who had the greatest potential to be the greatest player that they'd ever played against, and he said Shaq. But he said Shaq was lazy.
Yes.
And they were his words. Now, you're saying that Shaq's content with himself. It sounds like he wasn't always, though. Were
No.
you working with him when he wasn't content with himself? And then what things did you do, or what did you implement with Shaq to help him get to that place where he's content with himself, but in every circumstances? So he's always pushing for that like next thing, but being happy with who he is.
I've known Shaq for a very long time, and he famously said, here, in this very studio, he took my phone. So there's this video where he says, listen to Dr. Hamilton. I'm the most dominant basketball player ever. He's the most dominant sports psychologist ever. This is Dr. Hamilton. Listen to
You sent that to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no, there's a video of it. He took my phone right here in this very studio. He took my phone and he recorded it, which was pretty cool. And
I think, you did send me that video.
Yeah. And he said he helped me get 4 of these things. Me and Shaq is more two members of Omega Sci-Fi. That's our fraternity, and I know I'm going to do this and show that brand. And my mom hates it, but it's a very important fraternity to us. So we've been in this fraternity for a long time, and him and I is just understanding mental strength. I've had people ask about that Kobe Bryant quote a lot. You have to understand, it's easy for Kobe and some other people to talk about you could have been the greatest if you were more fit, right? You don't know, nor do you understand what it's like to run with Shaq's body. You understand? Mm-hmm. You don't know the pain in the ankles and the feet and the knee. The man is huge. Do you understand me? Remember Andre the Giant?
Yeah.
I'm not saying Shaq is Andre the Giant, but he up there. Andre the Giant is a little taller than Shaq, right? If at all. And Andre the Giant's body was not easy to move. I don't want to get in trouble with no NBA people right now, but there have been coaches that wanted him to drop weight, fall in line, be in this. And sometimes when he tried to do that, it wasn't his best year. Shaq knows Shaq. Shaq knows his body. Shaq knows what it can do, right? And people could say, all right, well, he may not have needed to be doing all them other things, DJing and clubbing. Shaq don't drink. Mm-hmm. So if Shaq going to the club, Shaq is interested in other things in life too. Shaq has a aura. Shaq has a presence on planet Earth. And that presence is not solely because of the NBA. That was a portion of his life. He gave a lot to it. Anybody can be a Sunday afternoon coach and say, oh, he should have done it this way. That's for you to say. You're not running up and down in his body. Mm-hmm. You don't know what his knees are like. Shaq did many surgeries. Painful. A lot of people don't know. And it's not easy. He's a warrior. the grit, anterior mid-cingulate cortex, that region that gets stronger because you're doing things you don't want to do. His is huge, like this, big. Right? He did stuff. Don't get it twisted. Ain't nobody can. Mamba mentality. Everybody don't have Kobe mentality. Kobe mentality was, I'm going to be better than Jordan. So if you setting that as your goal, tall black person, say I didn't say the word, you're gonna have to put in some work. Lots of people want to get to the NBA. Lots of people want to be successful entrepreneurs. But there are people that get to the NBA, oh, I've made it. And then they start to coast. Kobe got to the NBA, and that's when he started to work and outwork everybody. You go into the club, he's at the gym, always at the gym. Everything, work, right? There is no way Shaq could work like Kobe. That's not possible. That body his career would have been finished years earlier if he ever tried to keep up with Kobe. There are people that have done really well and have lasted very long because of their body type. Vince Carter, one of the longest NBA careers. Vince and his sports medical team understands the power of ice, water. After every game in there, right? Vince could have won he could have won many slam dunk contests, right? But for those of us who've never dunked, when you dunk and come down, you're damaging up your legs, You're damaging your knees, you're damaging your ankles, right? For LeBron to still be doing it, that's because that man spent $1 million to over $1 million taking care of his body. He's in the Hall of Fame, and he's still one of the top 10 athletes in the NBA. That never happened. There is not going to be any more like him. The level of work that he did, that Kobe did, their body can handle that. You running with Shaq's body, you cannot. Shaq body can.
So are you saying, though, that back then he still had that internal confidence within himself back then? So he didn't... Okay, so he was still content with himself back then.
He's young. So I remember when I said earlier that your prefrontal cortex don't develop till you're 25 in the male. So he's willing to listen. You're the coach. You should know more than me. Okay, I'm willing to listen to you. Say, all right, we need to get to this level of fitness, this level of body fat. Your BMI should be this, right? But when he was doing that and eating a piece of a cucumber or a piece of a tomato, and you're not maintaining your body by starving. And just because your BMI is here and your body fat is low does not necessarily mean you're as strong as you should be. He knows his body. That, when he was able to dominate, is when he, content with self, maybe not completely listening to everybody else who telling him how it should be done, even though they're not walking around in his body, right? He, more than anybody else on planet Earth, and me, knows Shaquille O'Neal. So he knows. We just, what makes you strong? All the same thing, right? And he's strong. So to the critics of Dr. Shaquille O'Neal, I'll say walking a mile in a man's moccasins or his shoes, well, you definitely can't walk in Shaq's shoes, but try walk a mile. You'd have to two shoes. Walk a mile in his shoes before you begin to judge, right? There could have been more NBA rings. I think he gave us a lot. He's still giving us a lot. And it's a really cool blessing to be on earth at the same time as this man. And to know him and call him a friend.
So the interesting part is, from what I'm gathering, and I just want to clarify this, did he always have that internal confidence, or was that something that he developed because he started listening to other people? His body started breaking down. He started sort of figuring out who he was. Then he built the internal confidence or the internal self-belief. And then that's what potentially extended his NBA career and now has made him the successful business person by having that internal authority.
Yeah. Okay. So remember I told you his stepfather was a ex-military. So he's young and he's traveling all over military bases, and was a coach in high school, and that coach resulted in him and going to Louisiana, and it's a series of things that happened because there's the young Shaq, and in your mind you want to be, like layups and hitting threes. That's strict military dad. Come downstairs, come on the court, and look here. What's taking you all the way? Dunk. Grab ball, put it hard, right? We ain't know all that other fancy stuff. And it took him a while to understand that's who Shaq is. That's what I'm like. Rodman, I am rebound. Shaq, I dunk and tear down baskets. That's what I do. I'm in the paint and I destroy. Most dominant. So that coach that believed in him from then, and then that's why he went to Louisiana. And that's why he's doing his sports psychology doctorate at Louisiana. And he's already a doctor. He had it, but it took a while. Because the young version of Shaq want to be like all those other players that he see that can do a fadeaway jumper and do a... Dad stopped and said, look here, this is how it's going. Then once he started to understand, he said, yeah, this is who Shaq is and this is what Shaq does. And then, so when other people again are telling you, Shaq, you should be like this, I know, or if I'm speaking like Shaq, he knows what he can do to help you win a game.
So from what I'm gathering, you're saying Shaq really figured out what his strengths were and he just doubled down on them. And that's what made him great versus trying to take in the external feedback.
Appease everybody else. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now this is awesome. Now I know we've got to start wrapping up, but I've got some quick fire questions here. This one here was also something that came up. So just recently I was at the Amen clinic that I spoke to you about. And
Dr. Amen?
Yeah, so I got all the brain scans and everything. I actually brought him with me to show you.
Oh, lovely, man. He's amazing.
Excellent.
He's brilliant.
You're
but
right.
he's done so much studies on the brain. I love Dr. Amen stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So
Sorry.
I just got the spec scans done and everything. And I've been diagnosed with ADHD.
Okay.
But there was also some other things that were going on in my brain as well. Just some areas that weren't functioning effectively and getting the right blood flow. But this is one that came up for me, but I also know that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with this. And I wrote here, I struggle to relax even when switching off. I feel guilty like I'm falling behind. How do the best athletes in the world learn to rest without losing their edge?
Good question. And the ADHD thing, let me just, I think I said it earlier, I'm probably been diagnosed with ADHD had they been doing it back when I was young, because I was a handful, is how I will say that. Got into a lot of trouble, went to a lot of prep schools in Jamaica and a lot of high schools. So some of that is ADHD type behavior. However, I will say this, some of the top athletes in the world are ADHD. An ADHD youngster can play a basketball game, and then coach says, we're going to another school to play another basketball game. They play that basketball. And then coach said, hey, somebody else said they want to play us and play a third. Not to say most normal kids, but many kids that are not ADHD can't play no 3 basketball games. So the hyperactivity of the ADHD allows them, they have a lot of energy to burn off. So don't really look at it as that bad. But it will tie into the second part of your question, which is you can't slow down.
Yes, it's the burnout part.
How do you sleep? Do you sleep?
Not well.
You got one of these?
I wear a Whoop. I've got a Whoop. So I've been wearing.
Whoop. So you monitor?
Yeah, I've been wearing this for about 5 years now. I think I've got.
Okay, I need to see your data on your recovery, your sleep. We do this with all the athletes, right?
Okay.
But
my HRV is horrible.
See, there you go. You're ruminating in thought. You're perseverating. You're going over and over about where you should be or what you should have done or blah, 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 blah. So this is one conversation loop going on in your head.
It's actually about 50 that are ruminating.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Tell me your typical night and how you would fall asleep.
Depends because they're so different. With flying, you've got obviously the jet lag and everything, so that's been horrible. Then I just started to get a little bit of consistency, which was anywhere between 9 o'clock at night and midnight, trying to fall asleep. So I normally watch TV to wind down and just sort of relax. I actually find it easy to fall asleep when there's external noise. But I think that's because of the consistent thinking and just being on all the time. And then waking up anywhere between like 6 and 9 in the morning.
Do you go back to sleep, or when you wake up at 6 or 9, you're done?
No, I'm
you're
normally
up?
awake. But some mornings I'll wake up at 6. I might go have breakfast and then I might go back to sleep for another hour or two. But I haven't done that for a while.
All right. So, Michael, that's not good. First of all, you need 8. 8. You're not a young athlete, so you don't need 9. Young athletes, 9. Sleep. Best thing. Now, the external noise of TV or doom scrolling on your phone or doom scrolling on your iPad, that's just noise for your brain that you think is helping you fall asleep. But it's not helping you fall asleep because the light, not good. The light of the iPad or the phone, not good. I want you to try and go to sleep 1 hour earlier than you do every night.
So consistently, because I've been looking at the consistency, my natural, if I look over the last couple of years, 11 o'clock seems to be the perfect bedtime and around 7 a.m. is the perfect wake up time. Like that's the average. So try and go to bed at 10.
10.
And just,
So from a person that loves more, you love more.
I do.
I know.
Yeah.
So if you go to bed at 10, 2 months, 3 months into this, you've earned 120 hours. Yeah, you got more hours. Okay. So I want you to try and go to bed earlier. Try to go to bed in a dark, cold, not cool, cold room, like a bear hibernating. Dark. Jess not gonna love that so much. You understand? You just get a
that was my first thought was Jess is already freaking
you
out
just
here.
get a bigger comforter or something. My wife, we have it cold plus fan.
Well, that's what we have as well. But our 8 sleep broke. So I just ordered a new 8 sleep last night to make sure she's warm.
Yeah, you just take care of her, but you, room cold, dark, no blue, no lights, none of those shining computer lights, none, dark. And in the morning, whatever time you get up, first thing you do as you get up is you go outside. I want you to do 10 6-2-7s, which is a breathing exercise.
Yep.
So corpus callosum separate left hemisphere, right hemisphere, right? If we had to remember to breathe, we'd be all dead. Parasympathetic nervous system takes care of breathing. When you are actually concentrating on your breathing, you are in control of both sides of your mind. You might be more right brain, which is the left side of your body, or you might be more left brain, which is the right side of the body. When you are controlling your breathing, you are concentrating on both aspects. So we're going to do it right now. It's called a 6-2-7. So you're going to inhale through your nose for a slow count of 6 when I tell you to start.
Okay.
Then you're going to hold your breath for a slow count of 2. Then you're going to blow out for a slow count of 7, like you're blowing through a straw. All right? And begin. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 1, 2. Blow out like you're blowing through a straw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right there, you just calm down your heart. Calm. Anytime you can calm yourself down. You do this 10 times outside, fresh air, not inside, air conditioned. Right? I want you as much as possible to try and look up in the sky directly towards the sun. Directly. Don't look like some other person did. Don't look directly into it. look as close to it, but
Yep,
you're
so
looking.
just off to the side,
Yeah,
sort
off
of,
to the
yeah.
side. Worse if there's like a cloud. Then if there's a cloud and it's breaking through the cloud, look directly at it. The key is look right to the sun.
So to maximize photons into the eye.
Photons into your eye, but it's resetting your biological, your clock, circadian rhythms, right? So you do that every morning, then you start getting an hour back. You're doing 10 o'clock. Then you're doing 9 o'clock, right? You're doing 9 o'clock, and you're saying, wait a minute, but I have to go to dinner with friends. How can I do 9? On the day you don't have to do dinner with friends or you're having no dinner meeting, 9 o'clock. You're getting more hours back because you like more stuff, right? Then you get up earlier and you're waiting for the sun to come up. You're out there doing your 627s. I'm going to put you on PGBB tomorrow. As a matter of fact, you're going to start on PGBB tomorrow.
Okay.
It's a routine that I do with every athlete that has ever worked with me has done this thing. So,
Do you mind if we share it with our audience as well?
okay. Yeah, well, so PGBB, and I'm going to just big him up right now. But matter of fact, his grandfather did a podcast with me here, this studio. Ron Rothstein was the first Miami Heat coach. So PGBB is an assignment that any athlete that's working with me, it's just a discipline. It's from like Eastern philosophy. But if you do it the same time every day, then you're really disciplined. So me, I have 7 doctoral students. One of them Jamaican girl, she's finishing her postdoc at Harvard right now. Neuropsych and sports psychology. And so the PGBB is just a discipline. The P stands for a plank. You're going to be in a plank position for 60 seconds. You're right-handed, Michael?
Yes.
So I want you to focus on the back of your right hand. You're in the plank position on your toes, 60 seconds. If you can focus here for 60 seconds, don't think about anything else you have to do for the day, right? Because all kind of things going to pop in. Just swipe right, get them out. If you can focus for 60 seconds, I can help your brain to do things you couldn't believe you could do, right? So that's P is for the plank. G is for gratitude. You're going to tell me 3 things you're grateful for every day. If you're appreciative and grateful, easier to get to content and being at peace with yourself, right? So G is for gratitude. Tell me 3 things. First B, we just did. It's the breathing, 627s, 10 of them outside, right? Suppose you were a basketball player and you had a free throw to do. The play is not going to go on till you shoot the basket. So you can do a short one, which is a 3-2-5. Inhale for a slow count to 3, hold for 2, blow out for 5. Calm yourself, right? See the ball go in already. Hit your shot. Same thing with penalty in soccer or whatever, right? You're about to serve, 3-2-5. So the P is for plank, G is for gratitude, first B is for breathing. Final B, and every time I tell people it, they laugh at me. Final B is brushing your teeth. And everybody like, Dr. Hamilton, why the hell you need to know when I brush my teeth? I don't need to know when you're brushing your teeth. But when you are brushing your teeth, you should hear my Jamaican accent, and it should say, Michael, did you remember to send your text to Dr. Hamilton? So this is how I'm going to big up Ron Rothstein, first Miami Heat coach, grandson, Lucas. Lucas, when I leave this earth, he will be in the Guinness Book of World Records as the longest person doing PGBB in the world. I started with Lucas when he was in middle school. He's now finishing college. If I was to get my phone, you would see where Lucas is at like 3,000 PGBBs. He has not missed a day. Right? Suppose you were doing it with me. So you're doing the PGBB, and at day 27 in a row, your phone fell in the bathroom, and you should grab Jess's phone and text me. Don't miss a day, because if you miss a day, you have to go back to the beginning and start all over. You have all day till midnight to send me the text. If you send me the text every morning at 6 a.m., if you send me the text every morning at 6 a.m., I'm going to help you achieve things you can't believe, right? You're a very disciplined person. I have a young man. So when I remember, and I said it on your show, on the podcast, where I used to give the kids my business card, right? So in 2002, I was director of research and a dean in the College of Medicine at a university here in Miami, FIU, Florida International University. And I used to write DR, tell them, write DR on the back of your card and your name. Give me the card back when you're a doctor. So 2017, I got my 151st card. We're trying to have all 151 of those students meet in Jamaica for a retreat.
Wow.
Because with that brain power, I think we could do something good for this planet. So there's a kid that calls me at 10 a.m. because I don't really love early morning. Right? I did that.
I know that.
Yeah. But this kid, the first Monday of every month for years now, has called me, right? Just to say he appreciates the help I did when he's a doctor now. And what he went through to become a doctor, his life was very difficult. So yeah, this PGBB, this discipline thing, every athlete, all of them.
Wow. So we'll send that out to, we'll put it on our website or something like that where people can get the information, because I think that's fantastic. Many entrepreneurs with ADHD or on the spectrum feel like their brain works against them. Scattered focus, impulsive decisions, struggling to sit still for strategy and admin. But those same traits can also fuel creativity, risk-taking, and intensity. How do you help high performers stop fighting their brain and start using it as an advantage? And I think I see it with many of the people that I work with, and I find it easy to give them advice, but it's hard for me to take that own advice because I'm battling it from having somebody external give you that feedback. Mm-hmm. I guess it's different. I can see how to help them. But I guess how does someone find their lane and stay in that lane? And I know you mentioned it with Shaq, just, he found what his strengths were. How does somebody with ADHD or neurodivergent, especially in a world that's sort of completely different than what they're aware of, how do you help them to find their path, stay in their path, use their strengths? Because something that you've mentioned multiple times is doing things that you don't like, but there's also doing things that you don't like that you need to do for a short period of time that then you can delegate, versus doing things that you're crap at, that you're going to be crap at, that you'll never be good at. Like Shaq trying to be a speed player or someone like that. Like everyone has their strengths and their weaknesses. How do you do the things that you dislike without doing the things that are your weaknesses that you're never going to be good at, that will always make you average?
Good question. So for your audience that's not really familiar with neurodivergent can encompass many things. Some people think, you're choosing. It's like you choosing to be ADHD or you choosing to have Down syndrome. That's not choice. Or a hermaphrodite, which has both sex organs, didn't choose to be a hermaphrodite, right? Transgender children are not choosing to be transgender. Homosexuals are not choosing. This is their chemical makeup. This is how they were born. So I just went off on that because you said neurodivergent, and it falls under all the things. So everybody is chemically made up, chromosomes made up differently. Hence why we who study the brain have to understand how Michael's brain works in order to help Michael, right? The fact that I give PGBB to all my athletes, I don't care if you're neurodivergent or gay or whatever. Discipline is discipline, right? You can do a plank if you're gay. You can do a plank if you're transgender. You can do a plank if you're ADHD. You can do a plank if you have Down syndrome. If your hands and your legs work, right? To go back to using their strengths. No, we didn't have this neurological testing with Mozart or Beethoven, but probability is high that their brain worked differently. They were understanding and grasping concepts of music at such a young age. And there are people that have studied it their whole life and can't get to their level, you know? So it's a matter of tapping into. You went to the Amen Clinic, studying the brain. That gentleman, I think, has done more brain scans than anybody in the world. Understanding how your brain works is really important for you. And then once you understand, then you can use your strengths. You still have to work on the things that you're weak on. You can delegate if you're so inclined or have the wherewithal and the financial freedom to just, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to be good at it. Not necessary for me to know how to do that. I'll pay so-and-so do that, right? And be very comfortable paying them because I really would rather spend that money because I hate doing this thing or I strongly dislike it. But if you're not in that position and this thing that you don't like to do is very, very important for the thing you do like to do. It's very important for your craft. I'll give you a tennis example. Pete Sampras, one of the best tennis players, he started out with a two-handed backhand. And his coach at the time, many Americans just rally. A lot of hitting, whole bunch of forehands, whole bunch of backhands, just a lot of rallying. And one of his coaches was like, no, every time we start a rally, it's a point. You're playing a point. That was one thing he did differently. Another thing he said was, we're going to go from the two-handed to the one-handed. This time he was a professional. He's doing well. And in order to go, and this is where someone trusted his coach immensely, and that this wise person said, trust me on this. Your career will be better with the one-handed as opposed to the two-handed. And he was a pro. He was doing well. He used to beat Michael Chang with a two-handed. Once he stopped, just as an example, once he stopped and was transitioning from two-handed to one-handed, Michael Chang started to beat him a lot. But then the one-handed started to come, and he started to really get great. Then he started to beat Michael Chang again. Then he beaten everybody. Then he was number one. You understand? So it's going through something you don't like, which you might not even believe in. But in that particular example, that old wise person, that coach, was right. And I'm not sure he would have had the same career in tennis with a two-handed backhand.
Okay. So just coming back to the entrepreneurs with the scattered focus and the impulsive decisions that are struggling to do that, they really still have to go through some of that stuff, providing that it's on the journey or on the path. I guess it's on what people speak about as the mission. If it's on the path and the mission, but what you don't want to do is get on somebody else's mission and think that's your path. I guess for me, it's that, if I'm on the entrepreneurial journey, things that help me better entrepreneur, even the things I don't like doing, I got to do, but probably not play tennis.
Okay. As usual, this has been very good.
Awesome. Thank you.
Most people waste their life, and I just don't want you to be one of them.